Hey everybody, it's Dallin, and Steven Spielberg is probably the most famous director of all time. He's made some absolute classic and iconic movies like Jurassic Park, Jaws, E.T., Indiana Jones, and so much more. He's probably my favorite director, and he just released his new movie Disclosure Day, so this is a perfect time to rank all 35 of his movies. Before getting into this, just know that this is my opinion, and I would love to hear what you guys think in the comments. This will contain spoilers to all these movies, but anyways, let's get right into it. Number 35, 1941. Released in 1979, this is a comedy about the aftermath of Pearl Harbor and the paranoia that was caused. Yes, this is what I think is the worst Spielberg movie, and just hearing what it's about, you can tell that this was a bad idea. And this movie is so painfully unfunny, I don't think I even smiled at anything that was supposed to be a joke. I kind of forgot that this was a comedy when I was watching it. And get this, the opening scene is a parody of Jaws, which is weird because Spielberg is literally making a reference to his own movie. It's also way too chaotic. There are at least five different storylines happening at the same time, and none of them are that great, and it never really focuses on one, and it just feels cluttered. You've got the Japanese submarine, Wild Bill Kelso, Sergeant Frank Tree's group, Wally and Betty, Donna and Loomis, and a bunch of other characters. And it's crazy how the movie turned out to be this bad, because it stars some of the biggest comedy actors at the time, and it's written by the same people who wrote the Back to the Future movies. While there are some visual aspects that are solid, this is overall a very bad movie. Number 34, The BFG. Released in 2016, it's about a young orphan who is kidnapped by a giant, but they become friends and she helps him stop the evil giant from eating children. This is, of course, based on the classic book, which I read as a kid, and this movie is probably the first Spielberg movie I ever saw. And after rewatching it, it is pretty bad. The plot is simple and not very memorable, and it drags for a lot of the movie. And the humor. Why are there so many fart jokes in it? Also, the giants, a lot of them are creepy, and the CGI itself, while it doesn't look horrible, it also doesn't look great either. Also, I feel like it would have been better if it was animated instead of live action, and would you look at that? There was an animated BFG in 1989, and I bet it's better than this one. And oh yeah, the BFG is a fine character, and I feel he's kind of likable and funny, and Sophie, while the actor gives a solid performance, the character is very basic. So yeah, overall, don't watch this movie if you're over the age of 7 or 8. Number 33, The Sugarland Express. Released in 1974, it's about a couple who kidnaps a police officer and leads authorities on a massive chase across Texas as they try to reunite with their son. The movie is honestly boring. It feels very slow because most of the movie is just on the road, and it's a very unmemorable movie. The characters aren't very interesting, and this is kind of weird, but this couple does not feel like criminals to me. Maybe it's the writing, maybe it's the performances, but they feel like the most normal people and are just kind of stupid and annoying sometimes, especially the main character, Lou Jean. Anyways, the music is pretty good, I'll give it that, and it is the first Spielberg movie to be scored by John Williams. And if you don't know who that is, he's done the music for almost every Spielberg movie besides five of them. So that is something, but overall, it's a very bland movie with very little substance. Number 32, Always. Released in 1989, after a pilot dies fighting forest fires, he returns as a spirit to help his friends and guide a new pilot. This one is honestly just forgettable. There is very little that stuck with me after watching it. I do kind of think there's some fun stuff that happens before Pete dies, but the movie falls off after he dies. I don't really care for when he's guiding this new pilot to fly, and how the new pilot falls in love with Pete's old girlfriend. Oh, and the movie is so predictable too. This guy's always doing insane and dangerous things, and oh, the fire he says is gonna be the last one is the one where he dies? Who could have thought that would happen? But I kinda like the character of Pete, and I think Richard Dreyfuss plays him pretty good, and Dorinda and Al are fine enough, but it doesn't save this movie from being forgettable and boring at parts. Number 31, Empire of the Sun. Released in 1987, it's about a young British boy who becomes separated from his family during World War II and struggles to survive in Japanese occupied China. Now, I know a lot of people wouldn't put Empire of the Sun this low, but man, this movie just didn't click with me at all. I feel like it was slow throughout the entire thing and dragged on in a lot of places. And given that the movie was 2.5 hours long, it was a chore to go through. Also, for most of the movie, Jim is in an internment camp, and the first thing we see is Jim running around with whimsical music. Like, it seems like he's doing great here. Also, yes, Jim is played by a young Christian Bale, and it is a stellar performance, especially for a child. Even as a kid, he was still talented, and there are a lot of shots that look really cool, but overall, this was a very boring and slow watch for me. Number 30, West Side Story. Released in 2021, in 1950s New York City, a young man and woman from rival street gangs fall in love, and tension between their communities escalates. Okay, first of all, I haven't seen the original play or the 1961 movie, and I get why some people might like this one, but I am not a fan of musicals. I just find it weird when people just start singing a song, but in this crime setting, it feels so out of place when they're about to kill someone or they're about to be arrested and they just start singing and dancing like, what? I didn't really care much for Tony and Maria's romance or their characters, but I will give it credit the filmmaking itself is impressive, but as a person who really does not like musicals, yeah, it's pretty rough. Number 29, The Color Purple. Released in 1985, over several decades, a young black woman endures abuse and hardship while finding independence. Okay, now this is another one a lot of people would put higher. First of all, I think everybody here gives a great performance, and I do quite like the ending of the movie, but this one I just didn't enjoy. Of course, there are extremely heavy things and subject matter in the movie, and at points I did feel bad for the main character, Celie, but I feel like the movie is tonally strange. It kind of constantly flip-flops from being dark to optimistic all the time. I haven't read the book that it's based on, so I don't know if it's Spielberg's direction, but I do think it's a fair argument to say that the movie could have been better if the director was also black because that's what the movie is about. But overall, I can appreciate the movie for what it does, but it's just not for me. Number 28, Lincoln. Released in 2012, during the final months of the Civil War, President Abraham Lincoln works to secure the passage of the 13th Amendment and abolish slavery in the United States. Let's start with the positives. Daniel Day-Lewis gives an incredible performance as Abraham Lincoln. He mastered the voice, mannerisms, and the look of him so well, but I feel like this movie can drag and sometimes be boring in certain places, mainly because this is a movie with only dialogue. Now, it's not like I'm saying, oh, there's no action, this is boring, but this one, I don't know, there really isn't anything substantial in this. It's just, let's talk to this person about the 13th Amendment, now this person, and it just goes on and on. The story is fairly simple, but by the title, you might expect this to be a movie about Lincoln's entire life. But overall, good performances, but it can be boring at a lot of times. Number 27, Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. Released in 2008, Indiana Jones comes out of retirement and gets caught in a mission trying to stop the Soviet agents from finding a mysterious crystal skull. Now, I won't lie, there are some good things about this movie. I think the first 40 minutes are really solid and bring back the classic Indiana Jones feel with the opening warehouse scene and the motorcycle chase. I also think Harrison Ford still plays Indiana Jones very well, and there are some funny moments here and there. But there are still a lot of things in here that aren't that great. Some parts of the film overuse CGI way too much, and then honestly, everything, especially the jungle, has a very fake feel to it, and the jungle chase is kind of fun, but it goes on way too long. The story is also nothing that special, but instead of a religious artifact, this one focuses more on aliens. And yeah, I think doing aliens is kind of strange for this franchise, but it's fine. The characters aren't anything special either. Bringing back Marion was cool, and I liked how in the end they got married, but Mud Williams is kind of a whatever character. Not great, but also not bad. But then Mac is bad. He kept switching sides the entire time and was only focused on money, and by the end, he got very annoying. But there's one scene in the movie that's so stupid it's insane, the nuclear test site scene. If you don't know, Indiana Jones finds himself in a nuclear test site that's about to be bombed. So what does he do? He goes into a fridge and survives. I'm sorry, what? Yeah, there's been unrealistic things in other Indiana Jones movies, but this is a nuclear bomb, and the fridge was fine? But overall, the movie has a lot of problems, but a few good things here and there, but it is a big step down from the original trilogy. Number 26, The Adventures of Tintin. Released in 2011, young reporter Tintin embarks on an adventure to uncover the secret of a model ship and a hidden treasure. This movie is just kind of fun, but that's it. Like, there are some pretty good action scenes, like the Bagar Marketplace chase is actually very good, and the ship escape is also pretty good. The story is not too bad, It's very a basic adventure story, but it works and it's kind of fun to see Tintin and the villain race to get the ship. But the main character, Tintin, is bland and uninteresting as a character. His partner, James Haddock, has more depth than the main one, and I like him a lot more than Tintin. Another complaint I have for this movie is the animation. With the motion capture technology, a lot of the people look creepy and off, especially James Haddock. Like maybe this would have been better if it was live action. Overall, The Adventures of Tintin is fun, but not amazing in any way. Number 25, Amistad. Released in 1997, after a group of enslaved Africans seize control of a slave ship, they become the center of a major court case that challenges their legality of their captivity. It's a very powerful story, and yes, it is a true story, but the movie has strong themes of like slavery, justice, freedom, and human rights. There are also great performances by everybody. Jimon Hansu gives a very good performance as Sinke, Matthew McConaughey is also good as Roger Sherman, and Anthony Hopkins gives a great performance as John Quincy Adams, especially in the scenes where it's just monologuing. But Morgan Freeman is also in this movie, and his character did nothing. Seriously, what did he do to impact the story? But then the movie is very slow and drags in a lot of points, and it also goes on for way too long. Also, the movie is kind of unmemorable. Like, I struggle to remember specific things or scenes in the movie. But overall, Amistad has some flaws and strengths, so it balances out to be okay. Number 24, War Horse. Released in 2011, it's about a young man who befriends a horse, but then the horse is sold into the military and has to fight in World War One. About in this point in the list, I think we're actually getting to the movies that are pretty good, and War Horse is surprisingly pretty good. I think Jeremy Irvine did a good job playing Albert, and I really like the bond between Albert and Joey. It was actually very emotional. And I like the start where it's just the horse and Albert together trying to plow this field and stuff. I probably like them more than the war stuff. There's also some great cinematography, a great score, and some great war scenes. But then I do have some complaints. I felt Joey constantly switching between owners throughout the whole thing was a bit too much. Like, first he was with the British Army, then the German Army for a short time, then this girl and her grandpa, then the German Army again for a short time, then finally back to the British Army. It just felt like too much swapping around, and I didn't really care much about his different owners. I think the movie would have been a lot better if Albert was old enough from the start, so it would be about Albert and Joey surviving in the war. But overall, a pretty solid movie. Number 23, Hook. Released in 1991, an adult Peter Pan returns to Neverland to rescue his children from Captain Hook and learn to be Peter Pan again. It's not great or anything, but I think it's charming and has a lot of heart. The premise is actually very creative and unique, seeing what would happen if Peter Pan grew up. An excellent performance by Robin Williams as Peter Pan, and a fantastic performance by Dustin Hoffman as Captain Hook. The music is great, and I think the effects are good, like the sets and the flying still hold up fairly well. There's some scenes that are pretty fun, like the final fight between Peter Pan and Captain Hook, but the reason it's this low is because, well, this is a movie for kids. But I do have some problems with the actual movie. It is very slow, it takes a long time to get Peter to Neverland, and for him to finally become Peter Pan again. But overall, a fun, charming kids movie that a lot of people are nostalgic for, but not one of Spielberg's greatest. Number 22, Ready Player One. Released in 2018, in a future where people spend all their time in a massive virtual reality world, a teenager competes in a treasure hunt that could determine the fate of the Oasis. Now, I know that a lot of people would put this lower on the list, but I actually quite like this movie. It's just incredibly fun and very exciting from start to finish. There's very creative world building in it and a great score as well. And I do like the story. I like the hunt to try to get all these keys, and the action scenes are great, especially the first race. It was super fun. Now, don't get me wrong, there are some problems with it. I've seen a lot of people say the CGI looks bad, and I can kind of see that because, it's a bunch of CGI characters in a CGI world, but I think it looks fine. And a lot of people complain about the constant pop culture references in the movie, and I kind of understand that too. At the start, when you see some, it's pretty cool, and by the end, when you've seen all these references to stuff from the 80s, the coolness of it goes down. Like, I probably would have loved the scene where they are in the Overlook Hotel from The Shining a lot more if the entire movie wasn't just pop culture references all the time. With that, the characters aren't the best. Wade and Artemis are fine, their actors do have good performances, though I didn't really care for any of his friends. And the villain, Nolan Sorrento, is okay, but overall, while the movie does have some flaws, I still think it's very fun and very entertaining. Number 21, The Lost World Jurassic Park. Released in 1997, Ian Malcolm travels to a second dinosaur-filled island where a rescue mission quickly turns into a fight for survival. This is another movie that people might put lower, but just because it's not nearly as good as the original, that doesn't mean it's bad. Ian Malcolm, I think, is still great. He's more serious than he was, but he's still making jokes and very funny. Jeff Goldblum still gives a terrific and hilarious performance as the character. The dinosaurs still look very good. The CGI and animatronics still hold up well, and the action scenes are incredible. The best one is the T-Rex trailer attack. It is so tense and scary. Other great ones include the Velociraptor attack in the tall grass, and the final T-Rex attack in San Diego is incredible. The plot is nothing special. Ian is just trying to rescue his girlfriend Sarah, and then the InGen guys come, but at least it's better than Jurassic Park 3's plot. With that being said, none of the characters are really that great. Kelly, Sarah, Ludlow, and everybody else are just very basic. The characters are also all stupid. There's so many decisions they make that lead to them getting killed. Like, these are supposed to be dinosaur experts. Also, there is one action scene that's pretty bad, and that is when the velociraptors are attacking Ian, Sarah, and Kelly. The velociraptors are supposed to be master hunters, but they're acting like Looney Tunes villains. It has the infamous scene where Kelly kicks a velociraptor out of a window with gymnastics, and they also fall off a roof, and when Sarah is right next to them, they are attacking each other. But overall, it has some problems, but I still think it's very fun and exciting. Number 20, AI Artificial Intelligence. Released in 2001, a highly advanced robot boy embarks on a journey to become a real child and loved by his mom. Now we are in the top 20, and fun fact, Stanley Kubrick was actually making this movie with Spielberg helping him, and then Kubrick passed away, so Spielberg went ahead and made it. But what do I think about it? I think it's pretty good. I think the story is nice. I quite like the futuristic take on Pinocchio. It's actually very clever. And I like the direction they took because at the beginning, it feels like David is going to turn evil and then it'll be a horror movie, but no. I think Haley Joel Osment gives a great performance as David and captures the roboticness of the character. The special effects are also really good. The futuristic city, the flesh fair, Teddy, the underwater scene all look very good. There are also some very emotional moments in the movie, but here's the thing. The first 50 minutes of the movie is so different from the rest. It's almost like it's two different movies. The start is David with his mom, and it's very heartwarming, and the second half is this dark adventure. Both parts of the movie are good, it is just very different. It does feel a bit too long, it's like 2.5 hours. They probably could have shortened it, and oh yeah, the ending is kind of divisive. What happens is David gets frozen in ice and aliens come and grant him his wish of being with his mom one more time. I mean, I don't know, the movie didn't need aliens, but I do like that David got to be with his mom in the end. But overall, AI artificial intelligence is actually pretty good, but not one of my favorite Spielberg movies. Number 19, The Post. Released in 2017, a journalist and a publisher race to uncover a hidden government scandal after leaked documents expose the US involvement in the Vietnam War. This movie is surprising because I went into it thinking it wouldn't be that great, but it was actually pretty good. I felt a lot of tension in some scenes, and I love the scenes where they debate whether or not to publish these papers. It makes people talking in rooms very exciting. Meryl Streep and Tom Hanks give great performances along with Bob Odenkirk. I love the 1970s vibe of the movie, and the score is also amazing. But I feel like the first 30 minutes are very slow and boring compared to the rest of the movie, and I feel like it just got better as it went. But the ending is honestly kind of funny. A security guard is walking through the Watergate Hotel and discovers a break in with dramatic music in the back. Like, were they trying to set up a sequel? But overall, the post is good. Number 18, Munich. Released in 2005, after the Munich Olympics terrorist attack, a secret Israeli team is sent on a mission to track down and assassinate those responsible. Munich is good, no doubt. It's a very gripping story about revenge, but it also tackles the morality and guilt of it all. The entire group is great, especially the main character Abner, who is also played very well by Eric Bana. The 1970s European setting is good, and it has a very grounded and realistic feel to it, which fits the movie. But the best part of the movie are the assassination scenes. The opening Munich assassination is crazy, the hotel bombing is intense, and the assassination in Paris is so suspenseful, literally had me on the edge of my seat. While there are some parts that are kind of boring, overall, Munich is pretty good and very compelling. Number 17, Bridge of Spies. Released in 2015, During the Cold War, an American lawyer is tasked with negotiating a prisoner exchange between the United States and the Soviet Union. First of all, the story is kind of weird. The first half is about James Donovan defending Rudolph Abel in court, but the second half is him exchanging him with the Soviets. But other than that, it's a good movie. I think both halves are very entertaining, but I think the first one is the best. It was so fascinating to see these people hate this guy because they saw him as a traitor and helping a spy, but Donovan just thinks everyone should get a fair trial. The second half is good, but it's a lot more talking and negotiating. But the actual exchange scene on the bridge was very compelling. But don't get me wrong, I would say everything in this movie was entertaining at the least. And I do like the character of James Donovan. He has some great dialogue, he feels like a real person, and you're rooting for him the entire way. And I gotta give some of the credit to Tom Hanks. He's what gives the character his personality. Mark Rylance also gives an incredible performance as Rudolph Abel in the very few scenes that he was in. I like the cinematography, and overall, I had very few nitpicks with it, but I really like this movie. Number 16, Disclosure Day. Released in 2026, it's about a cybersecurity expert and a news reporter who evade government agents to broadcast proof of aliens existing to the world. Okay, I did in fact like Spielberg's newest movie, Disclosure Day. It was nice seeing him to go back to aliens, and it delivers a unique perspective on it, seeing how humanity would react after finding out that aliens are real. I think the movie was just very entertaining. It's almost like this cat and mouse chase between Margaret and Daniel and Wardex. And oh yeah, I really liked the characters in this movie. The main character, Margaret Fairchild, was a very interesting character and had a lot of depth, and Emily Blunt gave an absolutely incredible performance. I also liked Daniel Kellner, with another good performance by Josh O'Connor. The villain, Noah Scanlon, was pretty good too. There are also so many scenes that are great. The scene where Margaret does the clicking thing on the news, and the action scene on the train was incredible. Another one where I was on the edge of my seat. There are also some moments in the movie that were funny. Oh, and the ending scene is just incredible. Overall, I really enjoyed Disclosure Day and had a blast. Number 15, The Terminal. Released in 2004, a man from a European country becomes stranded in an airport when his passport becomes invalid, forcing him to live there and try to survive. I just think this movie is really charming and a heartwarming movie. Definitely one of his more feel good movies. And I got to say, the premise is just so good. And yes, it is based on a true story. Just the thought of what would happen if you had to live in an airport and seeing this guy Victor find ways to get food and money is so good. And yeah, I think one of the reasons this movie is so good is the main character, Victor Navorsky. He's just so likable, warm hearted, and kind, and has an optimistic attitude. Tom Hanks, wow. It's a phenomenal performance. He does the voice for him just so well and captures the likability of the character. The supporting cast is really solid, and this movie is hilarious. Like, I would say almost the entire movie is funny. But there are also some emotional moments in there that work too. Overall, this movie is just really wholesome, and I could see myself watching this again sometime. Number 14, Duel. Released in 1971, a businessman driving through the desert is relentlessly stalked and terrorized by a truck driver in a deadly game of road rage. Duel is Steven Spielberg's first ever movie, and it actually was a movie only for TV. But for a first movie, Duel is so impressive. Like with most directors, their first movies are usually their worst or one of their worst, but that isn't the case for Spielberg. Duel is just so tense. It's suspenseful the entire way through. You actually feel paranoia like the truck could attack at any moment. And somehow, Spielberg was able to make a truck terrifying. And guess what? You never see the driver, so it's almost like this truck is an evil entity, and the atmosphere of being a desert makes you feel very isolated while watching it. And there are so many great scenes. All the chases on the road are fantastic. The scene where the truck tries to push him into a train is intense, and the diner scene is so stressful. The main character, though, is David Mann. Dennis Weaver is a great performance, though we really learned very little about him, but I still like the character. And yeah, for a made for TV movie, this is incredible. Though, since it was a TV movie, it is really short. It's only like an hour and 20 minutes, and I wish it was longer, but overall, a very good and impressive movie. Number 13, War of the Worlds. Released in 2005, when Earth is invaded by aliens, a father must protect his children and survive as civilization collapses around them. This movie is good, for sure. There are a lot of great scenes in the movie. Everybody talks about the scene of the aliens first invading, and yeah, it's so good. And I also like the ferry scene, the basement scene, and the scene where everybody's trying to steal his car. It feels very realistic and hopeless, like everybody's for themselves. And the alien tripod things look great. Their design makes them so terrifying, and the CGI holds up excellent. And I do like the character of Ray Farrier, and I think Tom Cruise gives a solid performance, but his kids aren't that great. Rachel and Robbie can be annoying at times. There's one scene where the military is fighting the aliens, and Robbie really wants to go see and join, and he's like, "You have to let me go," and then Ray just ditches his son. I think it's supposed to be emotional, but to me, it's really stupid. The ending is kinda rushed, but overall, I think War of the Worlds is a fun watch. Number 12, Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom. Released in 1984, Indiana Jones travels to India to recover a sacred stone from a sinister cult hidden in a temple. I would say Temple of Doom is a pretty great movie. The big thing about this one is that it's a lot darker than the first one, and when I say dark, I mean sacrifices and lava and ripping out hearts. I'm pretty sure movie was one of the reasons they made the PG-13 rating. With that being said, this movie has some of the best action scenes of the trilogy. The opening in Shanghai is great. The minecart chase is so exciting. The conveyor belt fight is great. The airplane escape with the raft is good. And the spike room is solid. And the climax on the bridge, oh my gosh, I was actually sweating. The temple itself looks absolutely stunning along with all the other sets. Indiana Jones is, of course, still a good character and still has his personality, and Harrison Ford plays him great. And Short Round is a super good sidekick, and he's hilarious. But the big complaint you'll see about this movie is that Willie Scott is annoying. Yeah, she's screaming for a lot of it, but come on, who wants to eat monkey brains? Mola Ram is also an absolutely terrifying villain. I would say it still has some of the sense of adventure as the first one, but it is definitely the weakest of the original trilogy. Overall, it's a fun time, but it's a little too over the top in some places. Number 11, The Fablemans. Released in 2022, a young aspiring filmmaker discovers the power of movies while navigating family struggles and growing up. The Fablemans is, in fact, great. This is, of course, basically an exact retelling of Spielberg's life as a child with the names being different, and it feels so personal. It's an excellent coming of age story, but the strong emotional core is the family drama with his mom. The family relationships all feel real and complicated, and the emotional moments hit hard. But the movie and filmmaking aspects of it are spectacular. It captures the magic of movies, where Spielberg got his love for filmmaking, and the scenes where he's making a movie with his friends are some of the best parts of the movie. Sammy Fableman is also a very likable protagonist, and you connect with his dream of filmmaking. The performances are great all across the board. Gabriel LaBelle as Sammy, Michelle Williams as his mom, Paul Dano as his dad are all so good. Along with the ending being very nice, this movie is just really good. If you love movies or want to make movies, I would highly recommend watching this. I feel like if this was the last movie Spielberg made, it would be a fitting conclusion. Number 10, Catch Me If You Can. Released in 2002, a young con artist fakes being a pilot, doctor, and lawyer while running from the FBI agent determined to catch him. Now we are in the top 10, and all of these movies are great. And Catch Me If You Can is one of the most purely entertaining movies on this list. It has an excellent cat and mouse chase structure, and it's so fun to see Carl about to catch Frank and seeing how he escapes. It's also just super fun to see Frank persuade people and find all these ways to commit fraud with checks and other stuff. And seeing him faking all these jobs, it's just a blast from start to end. And I also really appreciated how it started with him young and in high school, and how we got to see how he started tricking people and how he learned to do all these things. And I love the character of Frank Abagnale Jr. He's so charismatic and charming, and Leonardo DiCaprio gives a great performance. Carl Hanratty is also excellent, and Tom Hanks' performance is great. Both of the characters have good chemistry and a good dynamic, which is one of the reasons the movie works so well. There are some funny moments, the 1960s setting is fun, and the music has a jazzy energy that fits perfectly. Overall, Catch Me If You Can is so much fun and an absolute blast. Number 9, Minority Report. Released in 2002, in a future where murders can be predicted before they happen, a police officer goes on the run after being accused of a crime he hasn't committed yet. Right off the bat, the concept is so cool. Of course, the movie is based on the book, but the idea of being able to predict and stop a crime before it happens is so good, and it actually makes you think and it raises questions. The story is great and immediately hooks you. Having the chief predicted of committing a crime and going on the run from the company he works at is super engaging and creates tension. It also keeps the movie going. You think now the crime is over, it would be done, but no. Now John is trying to find who killed the precog's mom, and the twist that it was creator of pre-crime was pretty cool. And it also is like a mystery in a way, because he's also trying to find where and who this guy is that he's supposed to kill. And I got to say, there are some fantastic scenes. The entire opening that shows you exactly how pre-crime works is exhilarating and a great opener. The scene in the factory is a great action scene. The scene with the robot spiders in the eye was insane, and the scene where John finds Leo Crow was fantastic as well. And oh yeah, I love the character of John Anderton. He's so cool and Tom Cruise plays him great, and the character has depth with his dead son. I also love the world building. There's all this technology everywhere, and it makes the movie feel actually believable and real. The CGI holds up well, and I love the blue and gray cinematography, and this is overall just a pretty amazing movie that will have you on the edge of your seat. Number 8, Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade. Released in 1989, Indiana Jones teams up with his father to search for the Holy Grail before the Nazis find it first. I feel like this is right next to the first one in terms of quality, and while I prefer Raiders more, Last Crusade is still very good. I like how they actually gave the character of Indiana Jones depth. The entire opening sequence is showing him as a child and how he came to be how he is. And of course, we got introduced to Indy's father, Henry Jones Sr., and oh my gosh, he is so good. So funny and adds emotion to the story with his relationship with Indy. Sean Connery plays him amazingly, and he and Harrison Ford have great chemistry with each other. Oh, and this movie is hilarious. I think it has the best comedy of the franchise. There are so many funny moments like Marcus Brody blending in, no ticket, the floor's on fire, the bird scene, they got us, and so much more. The villains are Nazis again, which I like. And oh yeah, the action scenes are phenomenal. The train scene, the catacombs, the boat chase, the airplane fight, the motorcycle chase, the grill trials, and the best one has got to be the tank chase. The movie still has an awesome sense of adventure, and I liked how Indy kept using his father's notebook to solve all these puzzles. Overall, this movie is great and an absolute thrill ride. It's so close to the first one in terms of quality. Oh, and speaking about that, number 7, Raiders of the Lost Ark. Released in 1981, Indiana Jones races against the Nazis to find the Ark of the Covenant. Let me just say this, Raiders of the Lost Ark is probably the best adventure movie of all time. The opening alone makes it deserve that title. The jungle temple scene is just insanely thrilling and perfectly tells you who Indiana Jones is in the first 15 minutes. And Indiana Jones is so iconic and so confident and funny, especially because of Harrison Ford's incredible performance. And I think all the characters are good. Marion is a good love interest, I think, and even though she's captured for most of the movie, she's not always screaming or needing to be saved. Sala is pretty funny, and the main villain Belloc is a character I enjoy too, and the Nazis as villains in general is good. The movie just has this sense of journey, mystery, and discovery throughout the entire thing, and the action scenes in this movie are just incredible. I already mentioned the opening scene, but there are so many other great ones. The bar fight, the Cairo fight, the fight next to the airplane, and the truck chase is so dang good, it's insane. And the ending, it is just horrifying to say the least. The lightning, the melting and exploding heads, it's just a crazy thing to watch, and the effects in that scene hold up so well. Now I have got to talk about the iconic John Williams music. The main theme is instantly recognizable and elevates every scene it plays in. The sets are great, and I really just love the overall vibe and feel of the movie. And overall, Raiders of the Lost Ark is a perfect adventure movie from start to finish. Number 6, Close Encounters of the Third Kind. Released in 1977, after a mysterious encounter with a UFO, an ordinary man becomes obsessed with uncovering the truth of these aliens. This movie is so dang good. Throughout the whole thing, I was just in awe and wonder. The UFOs look incredible, especially the one at the end. I don't even know how they did it, it's so good. The effects in this movie hasn't aged one bit. And before I talk about anything else, I have got to talk about that ending. It's so hard to put into words, but it's so compelling and jaw dropping. The main character, Roy Neary, has been seeing this mountain and is trying to build it. So he goes to it, and then we see one of the greatest scenes in any Spielberg movie, them communicating with the aliens with the piano, and I'm just staring at that huge spaceship. Gosh, it's insane. Also, all the alien encounters before that are great. especially the one where they abduct Barry. The light coming through the door and windows, and love how all the objects are shaking and moving. It's so crazy to watch. The movie makes the aliens feel scary, but gives you a sense of curiosity. But I also love Roy Neary. Watching him go insane and become obsessed with these aliens is so captivating, and how it begins to break apart his family is kinda emotional. Richard Dreyfuss gives a great performance as well. The other character, Jillian, is good, but not my favorite. I also have to mention that I think this movie is absolutely hilarious. I think it might be Spielberg's funniest movie. There are lines in this movie that actually made me laugh, and the entire scene of him in his backyard getting stuff and throwing it into the house is hysterical. The John Williams score is fantastic, the cinematography is great, and while I didn't care for the government parts of the movie, this is overall a phenomenal film that I would highly recommend watching if you haven't. Number 5, Saving Private Ryan. Released in 1998, during World War II, a group of soldiers embarks on a dangerous mission to find and bring home a soldier whose brothers have all been killed in combat. This is probably the definitive war movie. It's not afraid to show all the horrors of World War II and how terrible war is, and nothing conveys that more than the opening D-Day scene on Omaha Beach. It's one of the most realistic and brutal scenes I've ever seen. Blood and guts everywhere, people screaming, bullets flying by, the camera shaking. It is literally insane. The ending fight is also super good, and it is pretty emotional to see all the main characters die, and the characters are some of the best parts of the movie. I love Captain Miller, he stays fairly calm throughout the whole thing, and an absolutely outstanding performance by Tom Hanks. The rest of the group is super good. Horvath, Rybin, Jackson, Upham, Mellish, Wade, Caparzo, Private Ryan himself, and all the great characters and have great performances. The story is also very good. The group is trying to save this one man, and the journey to get to him was very entertaining to watch, but it makes you think, is one man's life worth others dying? I also love every scene where they're just talking to each other. It makes you connect with all these people and gives them depth. I also love the cinematography as well. The only colors here are basically gray and green, and I love it. It makes the movie feel very bleak. The score is subtle but effective. It's just crazy how good this movie is. It for sure is one of the best movies of all time, and it is the best depiction of war ever. Number 4, Schindler's List. Released in 1993, during the Holocaust, a German businessman saves over 1,000 Jewish workers by employing them in his factories while witnessing the horrors of the Nazi regime. This is the sort of movie you would never expect Spielberg to make. This is the most emotional and brutal movie I've probably ever seen, with endless despair and sorrow. Seeing all these people being murdered and put through endless torture is heartbreaking and absolutely devastating to watch. With that being said, Oskar Schindler is a great main character. He starts as a selfish businessman, but as he sees all the suffering that's happening around him, he becomes a heroic figure who wants to save lives. But this comes after 2 hours of violence, and the movie still never feels hopeful. There's an extremely powerful scene where Schindler is crying, saying he could have saved more. Liam Neeson gives an absolutely amazing performance as Oskar Schindler and perfectly conveys all the emotions. Ralph Fiennes gives an absolutely terrifying performance as the villain Amon Goth. Just an absolute chilling performance and character. The black and white cinematography is absolutely stunning, the music is haunting, and the ending is incredible. Even though it's over 3 hours long, it is undeniably one of Spielberg's greatest accomplishments. A lot of people would put it at one, but there's three movies that I like more than it because it is so emotionally heavy and difficult to watch. Overall, Schindler's List is an emotionally devastating film and is one of the best movies of all time. Number 3, Jaws. Released in 1975, when a deadly great white shark begins attacking beachgoers, a police chief, a marine biologist, and a shark hunter set out to stop it. This movie was one of the most influential films of all time because it basically invented the summer blockbuster, and obviously, Jaws is incredible. The entire movie is so suspenseful. When people are swimming, you're so on edge because you know that shark is going to come, and you might realize that it never shows the shark until the end, and that makes the movie so much better. And literally every scene in this movie is great. There is never a boring moment for me, but the best scenes are the shark parts. Every attack, especially the opening, the parts where they try to kill the shark, and the epic climax are great. Also, the characters are so good. I love Martin Brody. He feels like a regular person, and he's just pretty cool. Matt Hooper is smart, funny, and likable, and Quint has a very fun and entertaining personality. The trio works so well, and the actors and characters have a great dynamic. And the music is so good. Everybody knows those two notes, and it's the reason why the movie is so suspenseful, and the tension it builds is insane. Now, the animatronic shark, of course, had a lot of problems, so it is very impressive. And the shark, to me, still looks good in many scenes. The movie is also paced very well, and overall, Jaws is a masterclass in suspense and one of my favorite movies. Number 2, Jurassic Park. Released in 1993, after clone dinosaurs escape their cages at a theme park, a group of visitors must fight to survive on the island. Man, how did he make this and Schindler's List in the same year? First of all, Jurassic Park has impacted my life and this channel so much. Like, where would my YouTube channel even be without this one movie? But Jurassic Park is truly incredible. The story is so good. The start of the movie is full of wonder, and how they brought back dinosaurs is so cool. But then it turns into a horror movie, and the dinosaurs start attacking them. The movie also has themes of science and control, and the morals and ethics of bringing back dinosaurs. The characters are also all incredible. Alan Grant is such a cool and likable protagonist, and he has an arc of not hating kids. Ellie Sattler, John Hammond, Donald Gennaro, Dennis Nedry, Tim Lex, and the GOAT, Ian Malcolm. Every line he says is comedy gold, and he has the best lines in the entire movie. Now we have got to mention the dinosaur effects, and the CGI is absolutely stunning. This was basically the first use of it, and it's honestly better than some CGI nowadays. It is a mix of CGI and animatronics, and the animatronics look so detailed and realistic. Some parts have aged, but for most of it, I'm convinced it was a real T Rex. And every dinosaur attack is incredible. The T Rex paddock scene is a masterclass of fear and suspense. The Dilophosaurus attacking Nedry scene is great, along with the Jeep chase. And every Velociraptor scene is incredible. Them attacking Muldoon, the Velociraptors chasing Ellie, and the incredible kitchen scene. That entire scene is so scary. On top of that, the T Rex and Velociraptors are some of the coolest movie monsters. And oh yeah, the absolutely iconic music. Everybody knows the theme song, and the music makes every dinosaur attack that much better. It's probably the best soundtrack in any Spielberg movie. Overall, Jurassic Park is the perfect blockbuster, full of suspense, and it's one I've seen too many times to count, and it would be my number one if not for number 1, E.T. the Extraterrestrial. Released in 1982, when an alien gets stranded on Earth, he befriends a young boy and they work together to try and bring him home. E.T. is my favorite Steven Spielberg movie and is one of my favorite movies of all time. This is a movie I saw for the first time when I was fairly young, and I think this movie captures childhood so well. Riding on your bikes, getting into trouble, the movie fully conveys the feeling of being a kid and having this sense of wonder. But the main core of the movie is Elliot and E.T.'s relationship, and it is so strong and so emotional. The first time these guys see each other, they instantly are connected somehow, and the bond you feel between them and the literal bond they have is just so compelling. There are so many emotional moments here. The scene where E.T. is dying and the scene where E.T. leaves genuinely are sad. And E.T. is probably one of my favorite characters of all time. I love his voice, and everything he does is hilarious. And that reminds me, this movie is so funny. The scene where E.T. is drunk, the trick or treating scene, and so much more. And I have to say, the puppet and the animatronic they used for E.T. looks real. I'm not even joking. The movements look so natural and it's so detailed. It's honestly insane. I also love Elliot. Very relatable kid, very compassionate, and Henry Thomas gives an absolutely outstanding performance as Elliot. He captures all the emotion perfectly, and it's super impressive for a kid. Michael is a great older brother who at first teases him, but then helps him, and Gertie is very sweet, and Drew Barrymore gives a good performance for a young age. Now we have got to talk about the excellent John Williams score, because without it, this movie would not be as good. It does a lot of the emotional heavy lifting, and it perfectly captures wonder. The flying theme when they fly across the moon is so magical. This is not just some kids' movie, okay? This is a movie anybody can love. Overall, it's the perfect mix of heart, humor, wonder, and aliens. I feel so happy when I watch this. I love everything about this movie, and it is for sure my favorite Steven Spielberg film of all time. And that was my Spielberg ranking. This was a very long video, and I had so much fun making it and watching all these movies. I think I now appreciate him and his movies a lot more, and I can confidently say now he is my favorite director. And I would love to see what your guys' favorite Spielberg movie is, and what are some other movies I should rank next. Comment it down below. Anyways, goodbye, and I'll see you in the next one.